Welcome to our show. You're listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections, a place to learn about and celebrate creative arts therapy. Each week, we'll explore new ways that music, art, and dance can reach, connect with, and help individuals of all stages of health and wellness. Hi, I'm Bree Bynan, a board-certified music therapist and the managing partner for the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. Tune in as I interview professionals from healthcare and educational backgrounds on the impact of the creative arts. If you prefer to watch our live video stream, simply visit www.pbmti.com. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon. I'm a board-certified music therapist here locally in Southeast Florida with the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. If you are new to our show, maybe joining us through 95.3 FM or checking us out on Facebook Live, two of our newest channels, ways to connect with the show. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for taking the time to stop by. And if you have checked us out in the past and have returned, thank you so much. It is because of the support of our listeners and viewers that we are able to be here every week sharing new information. I do that all the time. Don't even worry about it. One of my guests, that leads me into my next point. If you are joining us through Facebook Live, which we're checking out here in the studio, which is the sound you heard, that's been such a really cool way to connect with people in real time. And I so appreciate the comments, the feedback that we're getting on there, and the shares, which was a perfect example of that. I just want to let you know what you can expect from the show. If you are new, we get an amazing opportunity to shine a spotlight on some creative, outside of the box, exciting things that are happening in healthcare, in education, in community, amongst professionals, volunteers, caregivers, community members. It's awesome. What I love so much about it is a chance to meet new up-and-coming business owners, from all over the creative arts spectrum, with music and art and dance and healing touch and all these really cool things that are just a little bit outside of the norm. And to connect you, hence the name Connections, connect you, the viewers, the listeners, with these resources, whether it's in our area, nationally, globally. We've had the amazing honor to connect with some professionals in, my gosh, all over the world, even in Asia, which I don't know if you know this, but it's like something ridiculous early in the morning over there, and they've taken the time to like call in and be a part of the show. Is awesome. So we're able to do that because of our support of those checking in with us, calling into the show, guests, and also our sponsors. So I always thank Bright Star Home Care is an amazing sponsor of this show. They also sponsor music therapy services in the community. Thank you to you guys. We are looking to just keep expanding our reach with this show, and the possibilities are growing and endless, which is exciting. So we do have sponsorship opportunities available. If that is something that you would be interested in, please contact me at Bree, BREE, at pbmti.com, or you can call me at 561-747-9944. All right. Let's get into our topic for today. So last week, if you checked out last week, it was like unlike anything I've ever had on the show before. It was really, really interesting. Again, it was what I love to do, promoting a entrepreneur, small business owner, special talents. This woman was spiritually gifted, which was something different that we hadn't had on the show before. And not only was she sharing about her gifts and what she does for her clients and all of that, but we ended the show with a live psychic tarot card medium reading, which I received in front of all of you listening and viewing. It was horrifying and exciting at the same time. And unlike anything I've really ever quite experienced. So, we've talked about angels throughout that show and our guardian angels. And I asked you all listening, watching at home to think about who are your guardian angels. But here's what's really cool. We have angels here too. We are surrounded by such special people here on earth. So, that spiritual connection, it's meaningful to me. I know it's meaningful to a lot of people. And that's awesome. But to really realize that if we just open our eyes and look around, I bet you'll find in your workplace, in your family, in your friends, in your community, your faith community, also that we live amongst special angels who just are these amazing people who go out of their way to show kindness, to show compassion, to help one another. Being in a helper profession, I know that I have the just absolute honor of being around these people every day, because we've all come to choose these careers because of our hearts, and it truly is our heart work, which is so awesome. So my kind of theme for today, if last week was talking about spirituality and this idea of angels, today's about angels on earth. I mean, the guests that I have to introduce to you today, I just don't, I can't even explain to you how incredible these people are. And we're going to be talking about healthcare, and we're going to be talking about creative approaches to healthcare and along the theme. But really, I want you to even think beyond the job or the business, all of that. Like, these individuals you're going to meet are going to inspire you. So you want to stick around for this hour today. Some pretty cool stuff we're going to be talking about. Just a few updates here locally in our community. As you know, if you've listened to the show before, I'm very active with some volunteer efforts in our community. So I just want to let you know, the Walk to End Alzheimer's for West Palm is the walk that I'm involved in, but certainly there are walks all over in our region. There is Miami, Fort Lauderdale / Hollywood, Boca, the West Palm, and then Treasure Coast, and they're nationally throughout. We kicked off yesterday. It's incredible. We just walked. I feel like that just happened in November, and we're already starting. I'll tell you, it was awesome. That room was filled with people, decked out in their purple, ready to raise money, to come together as a team, to fundraise, to advocate, to educate the community about Alzheimer's disease, the impact it has on all of us, not just the healthcare community, all of us, and how we can use our voices, use our time, talents, and energy and efforts to end this disease. I mean, that's a real thing that can happen when we all work together. So that's why I'm involved in that. An amazing opportunity this morning to be invited to speak at a roundtable discussion with U.S. Congresswoman Lois Frankel, and to talk about the impact this growing diagnosis has on our area, not only for the patients, but the effect it has on the caregivers as well. Apparently, I just got a text before this that ended up on the 5 o'clock news tonight. I have no idea exactly what was shown on that, but that's really cool, because the more that we can get in front of people talking about Alzheimer's, it is a word people don't want to talk about. It's like hospice care. You know, we've talked about that several times on this show, that being my background in hospice care. You just don't want to talk about it. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And in fact, the less we talk about Alzheimer's, the more persistent it is going to be throughout our community, especially living here in Southeast Florida. So there's a lot of incredible things that can happen when we come together to support this cause. And I'm so thankful to Congresswoman Frankel for listening to us this morning and asking such insightful questions, and really taking to heart what we were saying about the impact this has on all of us. There's also a young professionals group. If you can tell, I've been in a lot of meetings with the Alzheimer's Association this week. Been there pretty much every day. There's a young professionals group for individuals 18 to 40 to get engaged and involved in that. And the last thing I want to mention is one of my big soapboxes is just being involved in advocacy in general. This is the time. Our session starts, I want to say March 7th, lasts for 60 days, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But we've already have plans tripped going up to Tallahassee. I'll be going up in a couple weeks on behalf of the Alzheimer's Association. I'll be going back up to fight for music therapy licensure. We've got a senior day coming up in March as well, and advocacy in D.C. This is the time. We only get, in the state of Florida, we only get a couple months to really get organized, get prepared, and let our voices be heard. Remember, these legislators work for us. It can be a really scary thing. I get it. I was there. I can't go talk to a senator or a congressman or write a letter or go to someone's door. What am I going to say? Who am I? Well, I'm their constituent, and they really want to hear from me. In fact, they're only there because of me. So we have a lot of power in that situation. If there is any cause that you are passionate about, whether it's, in healthcare or education or agriculture or whatever, animal rights, environmental rights, whatever that is, I really do encourage you to think very strongly about how powerful your voice can be at this time, both in a state level and at a national level. This is the time to get organized. I mean, I'm not going to get political, but did you see what happened this weekend? Did you see what happened when people get together and just show up in support of one another in a peaceful, community-based way? It's powerful, and it matters. It matters. So that's just my little soapbox. There's just a lot of things in our community that require love, compassion, this angel work that we're talking about, and we can do that. We can make a difference. You can make a difference. And I want to hear about that. I want to hear about what you're passionate about, what you're doing in the community. So as always, please reach out to us on social media. Our Connections Facebook page is up. Connections by Aria is the address for that. Our video is live streaming there. You can leave a comment there. We're still on Twitter at PBMTI. You can call into the show, 888-565-1470. All right, I got to get to my sing-along here. Whew, I'm talking too much. I'm all fired up. Can you tell I've been on like 4 hours of sleep and a lot of coffee today? That's how I'm getting through this day. So, and unfortunately, you're getting the brunt of it. But to slow myself down and everyone, because it is the end of the day, you're likely driving home right now. If you are, thank you for spending this time with us. If you're home, thank you for unwinding from your day with us. You're not going to be sorry. We've got some incredible stories to tell tonight. And so I want to tie that all together with this song that I love. One of my favorite songs with this theme of support, this theme of looking around, being aware, and seeing who needs a little help in hand once in a while and being there for that person. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get tough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled waters, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled waters. I will lay me down. We come back from this quick commercial break. I'm going to introduce you to Craig and Bonnie Glover, and you just have to hear their incredible story. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in a bit.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer, Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon. And as I mentioned, our theme for today, if last week we were talking about the idea of angels guiding us from the spiritual world, I I want us to think about the angels that are here on earth with us. And what I mean by that is being aware, getting our heads out of our phone. Hey, I hear you. I got 2 phones here. I got an iPad open. I am not saying go put your devices away. I am clearly an offender of all of that. But there is a lot of value in just looking around and connecting and making eye contact and being aware, because I'll tell you what, nothing is going to thrill me more than making eye contact with someone and a smile and getting a compliment or getting a handshake. I'm not going to get that from Facebook. And I have to remind myself of that. And part of that is getting out, networking, meeting new people in whatever your field is. And I had an opportunity through a networking event to meet my first guest today, Craig and Bonnie Glover, and hear their incredible stories. So I just said, hey guys, I need to have you on Connections. I need you to just share this with a bigger audience. So thank you both for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
Pleasure.
you're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, in my honor. And, as I shared with you when we first met, this show, the intent of this show is to kind of promote creative approaches to, healthcare education. Now, what we're going to talk about today is not necessarily creative in an artistic way. It's creative in we have a problem to solve, and how are we going to really, from a community-based approach, solve this issue? I love that. It is out of the box thinking and innovative. And so if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about your background and what you do, and then your story.
Okay. I'm Bonnie, I think.
Today.
Today, that's right. I happen to be an attorney, but that is a career that I've left behind. I still use my brain, but in different ways. And right now I'm working with my husband in this great new venture for us for just over a year, a home health company, and we're just excited to be here sharing our story with you tonight. And I'll let Craig tell a little bit more about what we do.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Brianne. It's really great to be here. It's a great vehicle you have. We're really proud to be on your show.
Thank you.
We decided to start a home health agency for a few reasons, and a lot of them are personal. And we'll probably get into that, I'm sure, as we have this conversation. But what we feel like we do at the end of the day is we get to serve people. We get to help people when they're at their most vulnerable. And it's often more than one person. It's the client that we serve, it's their family, it's people in a crisis that they didn't know, didn't expect to happen, don't know what they're dealing with. And because we've been through a few things in our journey, we help people navigate through a tough time. And we don't do that alone. We have some real wonderful, caring people that we work with that demonstrate love and compassion, and they help people through a difficult time.
I love that. I hear that a lot, when I love starting with your background, right? Because a lot of people say, I'm here doing what I did because I've been through, right? I've been through as a caregiver. I've been through the healthcare process personally, which I know is part of your story. And so, we mentioned this creative approach to healthcare earlier. And so how I met you all, you were sharing about this really incredible, unique organ transplant process. But not just like that's an easy thing, not just having a transplant. Obviously, that in itself would be enough. But this idea that it wasn't just direct to someone that you've made this choice, you've made this decision, I know I'm going to be able to give my loved one this organ. There was a community approach involved in this. And can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I first want to, yes, this is Bonnie again, just in case you didn't know. But first I want to say that it took me a long time to come to terms with the fact that I needed a new kidney. I am not, by nature, a very accepting person. Sometimes I fight back, and sometimes I'm pretty stubborn. So I found out I had end-stage renal disease, and I fought my doctors. I fought everybody who was telling me what I needed to do. And finally, I decided to stop fighting because I wasn't getting any better. I was getting worse, and accepted the fact that I would need dialysis, which was very difficult for me because I watched a parent die on dialysis. My father was only 44 when he passed away. So I accepted the fact that I needed dialysis. I went and started to have dialysis 3 days a week for about 4 hours each time, which was very life-changing. Not just the fact that I was hooked up to this great monstrous machine, for these hours, but the fact that my life was kind of on hold and I couldn't do anything. I was facing the fact that my son was getting ready to graduate from college, and I didn't know whether or not I would be able to make his graduation. That was a terrible thought for me because all of our lives, all of our married lives, my husband and I, Craig and I, have just talked to our children about the importance of education, and here I was not going to be able to make his graduation. So I started dialysis, and I believe it was October, well, I know the date and time, October 31st, 2013. And for 17 months, I did this. And then toward the end, I guess at the year mark, I was told, well, you could probably qualify for transplantation, and you need to seek, we have a affiliation with the Miami Transplant Institute, and we want you to seek this cure. And I was hesitant at first, even though it wasn't the best thing in the world. I had gotten comfortable with dialysis. I was comfortable in a room full of people who were suffering because it was a very difficult thing. But the thought of major surgery was not. I was scared.
Of course.
I was very scared. So I went ahead and I had the appointment with the doctors, and the second appointment, Craig went with me, and they asked him if he would be tested to see if he would be a donor. And there was no hesitation on his part. And in fact, later on, I remember talking to him, I said, you really don't have to do this. And he just kind of gave me his Craig look, which is really, you're really saying that? And I guess we went through some comprehensive testing, and lo and behold, Craig was a match to me, which that in itself was very odd because the odds against it are.
What are the odds?
I don't know for sure, but they're not big that husband and wife would be who have that I know of. You're not a cousin or anything.
Not that kind of show, guys.
Would be compatible, but he was a match. And they had us in for a second meeting. And they said, well, Craig, you are a match. But guess what? We found an even better match for Bonnie. Would you still be willing to donate a kidney to someone else? Again, I watched this man not even hesitate. Sure. What do I need to do?
Can I just stop you right there? I mean, that's where hearing your story, sitting in that audience at that meeting, I'm like, okay. I got to put myself in check now. And other people were open to share that. Okay, for a family member, all right, my spouse, my parent, my sibling, someone needs this. Okay, I think about that. For a stranger. And you said emphatically, without hesitation. That's amazing. I mean, that is so powerful, and I think that's like to hear that, at least for me, and obviously it touched a lot of people in that room that day that you were sharing this story. It really challenges you as a human to think about that. Can you just share a little bit about what was going through your mind at that moment?
Sure. Quite a few things. Mm-hmm. Bonnie talked about our sons. Our sons are wonderful young men today. At that time, they were teenagers, and they were watching their mom die. So for me, my primary motivation is I wanted her healthy, not just for me, but for our sons. She would be around for their children, and her children's children for a long period of time. So that was easy. And then we've always been about service. We've always practiced, we think, and encouraged our children to serve, to always give something back. And they've got a serving heart. That's just their nature and their spirit. So it was very simple because I thought it would have been important to save Bonnie, but a bonus to help somebody else. I just thought it was the right thing to do. So that didn't take much effort. I wasn't sure who it was, but I didn't care because I knew we'd be helping two people. So it was wonderful, that whole thought. And then it was a process. Then we had to get through it. And because Bonnie's had been on a decline for a while. We had been in and out of the hospital and supporting her, but I've never really had that experience. So I had to understand what it would be like as a donor. And the great thing about the Miami Transplant Institute was that they gave me a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. I had what was called a donor buddy, a mentor, somebody who had been through the process. He's a detective in the Keys. His name is James. We only talk by phone, but we talked for months by phone to prepare me for what I was about to go through. And that was very, very helpful. So there were very few surprises in that journey. And then it was really worth it. And what we found out at the end was it was a wonderful process because we were the first 4x4, meaning that there were 4 couples, 3 husbands and wives, 1 mother and son. And every loved one gave an organ to someone else so their loved one could get an organ faster. So we were part of this community of people, and it was really wonderful. And at the end of that journey, after the transplant, we were invited back for a reunion to find out who we were connected with. And that was incredible.
my
It was really
gosh.
incredible. And then the bonus was to find out that here I am looking to save my wife for our sons. And I was able to give a kidney to someone who had a 6-month-old baby. So it was just meant to be, and it was really a wonderful experience. And I would do it. I think many of us would, given the opportunity. I mean, who wouldn't want to help somebody? So for me, it wasn't a difficult decision at all.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Bonnie.
I was just going to say, wow is the word, because when I met my donor, I just, my friends, there was a clip of it on the news, and all my friends, oh, that was really ugly crying. I said, yes, it was. It really was. It was such an experience to meet her and her husband, who I had seen waiting in the doctor's when we go to get our checkup. I had seen him and we'd been talking, and I didn't know he was part of the 4x4 because it's all kept a secret until we had this big press
Really?
conference and we met each other.
Oh my gosh.
So that was astounding. That touched my heart so much.
Before we go to break and I start ugly crying, I think I got a chance to share with you, Craig. I mean, not only hearing your story, I mean, just with everything going on around us right now, to hear these beautiful stories of literally just kindness and this why wouldn't you help someone attitude. I mean, why wouldn't you is like hearing you say that. I want that like on a t-shirt and just wear like what why wouldn't, if you had this chance. That's so awesome. But beyond all that, I mean, it is a personal connection to me. I didn't get a chance to share with you. I did, lose my father at 45, and he was on a transplant list.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't kidney; it was her heart. And he did pass on that list. And so for me, going through life, kind of feeling like it was part of my purpose to be able to help people through health challenges. When I heard your story, I thought, this is incredible. This is an amazing opportunity to see people just coming together. And just to hear this reveal, like you didn't know, you made these connections, going to your appointments, which probably were not pleasant to go to these appointments. You still made these connections of to set up to be friends, to talk, and then to find out that you've given the gift of life to one another. That's incredible. I know. He's telling me we got to go to break. I'm sorry. Gonna go to a quick break. When we come back, I'm gonna introduce you to. It gets better. There's another person here who's equally as amazing, Catherine Wynn. I'm gonna introduce you to her right after this quick break. The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com, engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Palm Beach Music. Oh, sorry, we are Connections now. I'm in the middle of rebranding this. I mean, thank you for bearing with me. We are obviously, as a board-certified music therapist through Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute, we just want to grow connections. We want to be able to reach as many people as possible. So that's why we're going through a little bit of this transition here. We've moved where you can watch the show from the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute Facebook page to the Connections page. So hopefully you found your way to that. But also, if you're joining us by radio at our new home at 95.3 FM or 1470 AM, we're so glad you're here. If you missed our first half, you have to go to the Connections page and rewatch it when you get home, because this conversation that we're having it's not only highlighting some innovative, creative techniques and approaches to healthcare, it's highlighting some amazing, incredible human beings who, don't we just need more of that? Don't we just need more kindness and compassion stories in our lives? I do. I feel so thankful to be in this room right now. Bonnie and Craig, thank you again for being here, sharing your story about, first of all, about your support and love for one another, which is just filling the room, as I mentioned earlier. During my first 10, 15-minute monologue, every time I mention the word angel, they reach over and grab each other's hand. I'm sorry. I'm putting you on blast. I'm sorry. And I'm like, okay, and the ugly crying is starting now. That's a little earlier than usual. All right. When I heard you guys speak and you're sharing your story, my boyfriend happened to be in the room. I got home. I said, did you hear how he talked about his wife? Yeah, just want you to take note of that. Did you hear how sweet he was? So thank you guys for sharing your spirit. It's so awesome. And Catherine Wynn is also here today. Thank you so much, Catherine, for joining. And I have met you through networking in the past. And the fact that we're all here for this completely unrelated reason is just another... there are no accidents, right? It's just another fate thing. So would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and your story as well?
Sure. So earlier I was saying that this was actually kind of personal, but I also was reminded I was a dialysis social worker at one time. It was my very first job out of school. And so I think about life and how things do come full circle. My sister-in-law, Sylvia, and I have to say hi to her. She's in Miami with her husband,
Sylvia.
Dad. She was in need of a kidney transplant. She was on the list for a couple of years and had not had any, I don't know, that sounds right, bites. And with Facebook and social media, there was a call out, what more can we do? And when I hear those kind of words, and I think that that's what we've been saying throughout this evening, what more can we do for people? And then when you say, what more can you do with family, for family, it is easy, isn't it? I started looking into it. I thought, well, I'm in really good shape, physically, emotionally, mentally. Could I be a kidney donor? We were not compatible. So to be honest with you, it wasn't so easy for me. I thought, oh, I'm off the hook. And then they said, actually, no. There is another program, not so fast. There is another program with Paired Kidney Exchange where there are other pairs that are not compatible also. And I agree with you, Craig. What switched it for me was, okay, I had been so focused on Sylvia, but to be able to say, I'm helping save 2 lives? All right, let's do this. And for those who know me, it probably didn't surprise them because I know that I have a lot of strength and I have a lot of compassion for not only family but for people. And so I knew it was within me, but wow, the journey has been certainly life-changing. So 3 weeks tomorrow we'll mark that day that we actually had the transplant, or I donated my kidney. Yes, I am living with 1 kidney, and we're all right. So we went through the surgery, and I'm doing very, very well, recovering very, very well.
When you all spoke, when was it? 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, I literally just left the hospital. I just, changed out of my gown to be here today.
I will tell you, these 2 were the reasons why I wanted to get out. It had been less than a week that I had gone through the surgery, and they were the reasons when I was going through the research of, could I do this? Your incredible outreach to let people know about your story helped ease my mind, helped me. It was comforting to know that, you made it through, you did it, You had the love for each other, which was evident. And it made me feel like, okay, I can do this too.
So you
Yeah.
did not know them.
I did
before.
not know them before.
And
I looked
the
at their
fact that
website.
you were just speaking at PFA and you go to the meetings. I mean, that
I
just,
knew they were there. That's the reason why I got out of bed. So when I saw their names,
but that's a group you
immediately.
would go to anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
we're all in this
Yes.
community.
So I saw your names. I knew immediately who you were.
Wow.
And then I saw the paired kidney exchange experience. I said, they helped me through. I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to see them in person.
How did you
You
know
are
about
my
them?
heroes. When I was deciding whether I could do it, you search. You do internet searches. I looked at the Miami Transplant Institute webpage because that's where Sylvia is in Miami. I mean, look at the connections, right? I literally just searched, what does that mean to take a kidney?
Yeah.
What does that surgery look like? I looked at that. I viewed it, actual. I educated myself, and I prepared myself. You know, is this something that I can do? And really, through your work and just really getting the word out was one step, and then having my own questions. Your Miami Transplant Institute really helped us a lot, helped me a lot with questions. I always wrote them down. So they were really good. We're all through the same program.
How does that feel hearing that? Like, now, Craig, you're like, if I could save 2 lives, that's great. How many people do you think, like Catherine out there, like, because you made this decision?
That's absolutely amazing. And speaking from a recipient, I have to thank the both of you because you are our heroes. You have made it possible for someone to enjoy their life. I was not living a good quality of life. I have 2 sons, Benjamin and Matt and Ben, and I'm going to be around to dictate to them for the rest of their lives. I will set things, keep things straight. I'm the mom. So it's just a wonderful feeling. And I just need to thank you both because you looked beyond what is comfortable for you.
Yeah.
And that means so much.
Oh, it's incredible. I can't even, and I know I asked this question to you, Craig, but, and I want to ask you, Catherine, as well, and you did touch on it a bit, but what is that mindset? Like, I mean, if you're in a situation where your health is at risk and you're living uncomfortably and you recognize your quality of life is deeply affected, it is, I imagine the approach to surgery is different than I may have, and you even said, I'm at the healthiest point of my life. And I'm going to still make this decision. What was that like for you?
To be honest with you, the physical part I felt like I already kind of took care of because I'm really good about taking care of myself. The other aspect of it is mental.
Sure.
It is emotional. It is spiritual. I mean, you think about all the things that could happen in surgery. They say that. I mean, death is one of those possible risks. And when you hear that, you're like, okay. And then you go back inward and you think, well, if it's my time, it's my time. I have relationships that are great with my family. My kids know how much I love them. All my family know. My friends know. So when you think about every single aspect of what you're doing, what you get back to every time is that I'm helping someone else. And when you give to other people, I'm telling you, I feel like I've received more than I could ever have imagined. And from my helping one person, it's incredible the amount of, and use the word community, it made me believe in the goodness of people again. It made me have hope and believe that if what I did can help other people, then this is what you're supposed to do. Back to what you were saying as far as like all the ripple effects. The same meeting we were in last week, 2 weeks ago, the woman who was sitting right next to me had said to me, I had been considering donating a kidney.
Wow.
Catherine, can you help me? And I connected her with Miami Transplant Institute. And I said to her right then and there, that is the reason why you sat next to me.
Yeah.
And you didn't even know what this conversation was going to about. I am a woman of belief and faith, and this has given me that even more so, tenfold.
That's so wonderful.
It's incredible. And then on the other side of her, was a woman who shared a personal story, and I'm sure she didn't plan on doing that day, about tragically losing her teenage son and making, he had, I guess he had made the decision, or she had been joined to donate his organs, and then with pride, with tears, but with pride, shared about all the people whose lives were affected, saved by that. And shared about how she felt knowing organs of his, but parts of him were around in the community. One was a firefighter, one was a teacher, I think she said. I mean, she was so proud of that. I mean, it was like story after story. Like, people could not share fast enough how their lives had been touched by this in some way. That's incredible. How are you all feeling now?
Well, I'm going back to work tomorrow.
She's like, I'm going back to work. I need you to fit me in before.
I'm probably about 85%, and for me, 85% ain't bad. If I'm 100%, I'm going to be back on the tennis courts, but that'll be a while.
Just a matter of time.
They said 4 weeks. I'm
Just a
counting
matter
down.
of time. You can do it.
Yeah, and how was recovery like for the two of you?
Oh, I recovered much faster than Craig did. Craig had to lean on me for a little bit, which was fine. But I was up and walking the day after the surgery, and Craig was still a little bit, this is someone who had never had a really ill day in his life and had never been in the hospital before. So this was a big deal for him. So there was a very different recovery for him.
But it was everything went according to plan. I knew what to expect. It's just a process and not overdoing it. So it was really wonderful. I want to speak to one other thing. You started talking about angels. Yeah. And I feel like we brought together, it's not an accident, not a coincidence. We're just so happy to have affected other people, because we started with the focus on each other and then another family, and now it's so much bigger than that. And there are so many people that need help. There are so many people. What I learned is that the goal of transplant is for people to avoid dialysis. That's the goal. That's an ideal right now. We're so far away from that, because dialysis comes with complications. Sure. So as we can use your vehicle, thank you again for getting this out there, and get more people willing to help, it's going to make such a positive impact on this community and world for many generations. So we're really thankful for that. Really glad to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm honored to be a small part of this. On that note, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, but when we come back, our last part of the show is going to be about what life is like after the surgery, how this has impacted your work. And if you are listening or viewing tonight and this is something you want to be interested in, we're going to talk about how you can get connected with this and learn more information. Stick around.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer, Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon. If you are just tuning in and you've missed our program today, I highly encourage you to visit our Facebook page at Connections and watch. We'll have archive video of this program there. This may be one of the most important shows I've ever had in the year and a half of doing this show, and I'm so thankful to my guests, Bonnie and Craig Glover, and also Catherine Wynn, for sharing a very personal experience, but as you said, making a personal decision that has just talk about dropping a pebble in the pond, and the because of your experience and your openness to share about it, even if your faces are now plastered all over the entire hospital, is what it sounds like, how it affected Catherine and how it will continue to affect individuals in our community. And I hope, I would be honored if this show would be even a small part of that. Catherine, you shared during the break that you've considering being a mentor for this program as well. And Craig, you've talked about how much that role has meant to you, because what could encourage more than someone who's actually been through it, which is what you all are doing today by sharing your story. So again, thank you for joining me and being a part of that. So I do want to give you a chance to share from that other side, as you mentioned, Craig. How has being a part of this experience? We're all obviously in the healthcare field. We're in the helper profession. We've come to this place because of our hearts to give even before this experience. How has going through this affected how you approach your work?
Sure.
You want to start, Catherine?
Sure. As a social worker, it's always been the number one issue is or skill that we have is empathy. And when you think about going through experiences like this, where now I'm the patient, right? I'm the one who has discomfort or fear, pain. It's such a subjective thing, and that certainly going through this, I think, would help me in the work that I do in helping others every day in my work as a social worker. So that, for sure, is going to impact me tremendously. But beyond work, it's actually helping me as a human being, recognizing that, again, what kindness you give begets other kindness. The love and compassion that you give, you'll get it back tenfold. So that I feel like I'm already gaining now. So thank you for having me here today.
Awesome.
Excellent. We decided right after our surgery to make a decision because we should have asked for help. We helped each other and our friends helped. And then we thought, well, why didn't we ask? Because we had dealt with a few home health agencies in our past, with my dad, with each other, and we were not impressed with the level of love that we received. Care was good, but that combination wasn't there. So shortly after this procedure, we decided to start a home health agency because we feel like we have a lot of life experience that we can help people navigate through a difficult time. And we hire for what Catherine just spoke to. We hire for empathy and compassion. We hire women that can love someone when they're not so lovable, and men. And we've built this agency around that concept right now, and we simply serve others. So with Bonnie's help, we're building an agency that gets into people's homes and gives them the love and compassion that they deserve but don't know they always need. So that's what we do today.
It sounds like a business model created from a very personal cause.
Yes.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoy the idea that people really get something that maybe they're not expecting. You pay for someone to go into your household. You don't necessarily pay for compassion or pay for caring. And that's the kind of staff we have. I'm so proud of each and every person that works for our company, A Better Way Home Care, because they are the type of people that you want around. They have the heart. I've been in hospitals before. I've been in hospitals for sometimes a great length of time. I believe I was there for 3 weeks. And the people that I would look forward to seeing some nurses come in. I would look forward to see some healthcare workers come in. I would look forward to see the lady who would clean the rooms, the housekeeping staff, because they were just sweet and nice. And it makes you want to be better. So that's the type of people we hire.
That's awesome. For anyone interested in finding out more about your business, either they're looking for a caregiver or maybe they're looking for employment opportunities, how can they reach you all?
Sure. They can call Bonnie directly at A Better Way Home Care, 561
202
1266. And our website is A Better Way HC, as in home care,
Okay.
abetterwayhc.net.
Okay. Any social media channels?
We do have a Facebook page
Okay.
under A Better Way Home Care.
Okay, wonderful. A Better Way Home Care. That number one more time.
561 202 1266.
Fabulous. And what area do you serve?
We are based out of West Palm Beach. We serve all of Palm Beach County.
Okay. Fabulous. And I'm going to give you a chance again at the end of the show to promote that. I also want to ask, what advice you might have for someone listening tonight, or maybe is thinking about a loved one who they think this might be an opportunity for? From the very beginning stages of considering this, what advice would you have for someone?
From my perspective, I think it was just kind of getting your questions answered, and actually just listening to yourself. You know, there certainly have been times where I felt afraid, sometimes where I felt like I wasn't sure, and so asking the questions was helpful. But also having like a group of people that you know you could talk to. There are some people I had to counsel more because I was told them about this experience, and I had to tell them it was going to be okay. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't go to that person because I was giving them more counseling than me. And then I realized, okay, well, that's okay. I knew there's certain individuals that were able to kind of give me a little bit more emotional support, talking through it, recognizing our humanness. Because certainly, although this has been very empowering, there have been moments where I was afraid, and to be able to talk about it and know who to go to really be able to do that. So surround yourself with people who are supportive. That would be my advice.
Absolutely.
Well, you take that, Greg.
Well, I would echo what Catherine had to say. Just talk with someone who's been through the process. Not so much somebody with an opinion about the process, but someone who's been through it on the other side. I can't really demonstrate how valuable it was to have that mentor who had been through this, and other people that just, they were encouraging, and they helped me take the fear away. I still had to show up, but I was very clear about what I would need to do from the beginning to the middle to the end, and what the great outcome would be.
So I just, like to take a quick moment to, again, thank Catherine and Craig for being courageous and for being heroes despite the odds, despite being scared, because that's what a real hero is. You do it despite the fact that you're scared.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the past few weeks we've kind of had this theme of on this show, and again, these things just come together. It's amazing, of the value of authenticity. And just, living this genuine life, and being true to yourself, and being true to others. And I want to thank you all for being so open in sharing, because the fear is part of it, I would imagine. If you were to come on and say, oh, yeah, it was no big deal, and that wouldn't be being genuine, and it maybe wouldn't help someone else through the process, right? Because Honor, if you are having fear or uncertainty about this, that's a real human thing. And it's so true what you're saying, Bonnie, is that it takes that courage to overcome that. And asking for help and support is a strength.
No doubt.
I mean, in obviously this extreme example of what you have all gone through and experienced, but just in general. And I think that we're all in professions that we can help people guide them to that as well. Just knowing, asking for help in general is such a strength. And my last point, just to kind of wrap it up and to tie back to this being in this culture we're in right now, where advocacy is so important, being an advocate for yourself. Being an advocate in your own healthcare, and for your partner and for your family member. I mean, that's we're so much stronger when we're supporting one another in that too. And it's so present here. I know I'm encouraged. I'm inspired by all of this. So thanks for giving that to me. I can't even imagine and how many lives you'll touch from this, just going forward and just sharing your story, because you never know who you're going to run into, right? And that's just in general. I mean, just that one networking meeting, that's what a lesson that was, in just sharing your story in general. Whatever your story is, you're going to affect someone in a positive way. With just a few moments left, I want to give you guys another chance to share information on A Better Way Home Care. 2 minutes left. That phone number and your website and Facebook page one more time.
I'll give the phone number.
Okay.
561-202-1266. And I'm Bonnie, and 9 out of 10 times I will be the one answering the phone, because it is mine. It is ours, rather. And we make sure that we're part of everyday activities. We're not absent owners. Yeah. This is ours.
And our website is www.abetterwayh.care.net.
Okay, beautiful. thank you again for all you do and for taking what you've learned and putting it into your work. I agree with our conversation before. I think it just makes us better professionals, makes us better humans. And so just keep inspiring others. I'm so thrilled to have you on. And if you have any questions specifically about this program, how can people find out more about the Miami Transplant Center or the Pear Kidney? Is there a website for that?
It's the Miami Transplant Institute,
Okay.
and they can Google Miami Transplant Institute. It's one of the biggest, I believe it's the biggest county hospital in the nation that does transplants.
Okay.
So it's a wonderful opportunity to just find out about it.
So you'll see it right there. as
You'll
you type
see
in
it
the
right
Google
there,
search.
and you'll
Okay.
probably see us on the
There you go. And you'll know because you'll see their video, their faces. Beautiful. And you know you've come to the right place. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for watching at home. We'll see you next week. Have a great week. Thank you for listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. We hope you enjoyed today's program and discovered new ways to bring music, art, and dance into your home or workplace. Please find a copy of today's show at pbmti.com. If you have any questions for our guest or myself, please email me at Bree, that's BREE, at pbmti.com, or call the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute at 561-747-9944. Tune back in next week for an all-new live show. See you then.
The opinions expressed